Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Corner podcast for another episode prior to the 2026 SuperCoach season. And what an episode we have today. We've finally got some football back, some official stuff, but non official SuperCoach stuff, even though it does affect some pricing. Das, as always, is joined alongside me. It was great to have some footy back, wasn't it?
Footy's back, mate. Pies straight in the winners list. It was a good weekend all around, so I'm a very happy man. And a lot of Supercoach lessons to be learned from the weekend gone, so I'm excited to get into it with you.
Yeah. There's definitely been some changes after the opening round in almost everyone's side. But let's go through all the major ones that should affect your side today. Firstly, shout out to the socials. Make sure you're following us along on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, everywhere that you can get podcasts, see posts. We'll post a lot of different stuff, especially over the course of the Supercoach season. So make sure you're following along to get involved and get in our Unlimited League, 728323. Just make sure you jump in that. It's free to join. And then we've got some cash leagues, which start on Thursday night for round one, where Richmond play Carlton. There's very limited spots left, so make sure you jump in before it's too late. We've got ranging of different entry fees, but yeah, shoot us a message to get involved. Let's get straight into it here, Das. Sydney versus the Blues was the first game we got. It was a great first half, I guess, in terms of how close it was. But then Sydney really turned it on in that third quarter, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They showed their class, and it was sort of what everyone's expecting from Sydney this year. Started slow, but I think that's the Sydney we're going to get for the majority of the year in that third quarter, especially, but in that second half in general. So they were really good and led by Justin McInerney, mate, in that third quarter. I think he kicked 3 goals. The 3 goals one that he had for the day was all in that third quarter. So pushing forward and providing Sydney a lot, 31 touches and 3 goals. Got 142 Supercoach. His ownership has definitely risen since that game. Would you even look there? I don't know. For me, it's just it's chasing points at this point that didn't even count. But yeah, I wouldn't be sold.
Yeah, it's definitely the chasing points that you said. Not playing too much. Like the positive sign is he played a little bit of midfield role, but mostly sat up that half forward and was just clunking them. Just looked really, really good. The split's not too bad. He had 11 CBAs, so that puts him fifth or sixth in line of the midfielders that are there. I don't see him edging ahead of the guys ahead of him. Maybe Sheldrick at some point. Maybe he could be pushed out if McInerney's really going to turn it on like that. But yeah, I think it's just chasing points at this stage. So it's an easy avoid. The only thing that's really tempting is the fact he's forward eligible. But just wait and see. He got his buy coming up. It's easy to just wait and see if he's going to continue to do that. He might jump up a bit of cash, but you then have the knowledge that he's going to be a premium. Next on the list is Errol Goulden, 113 Supercoach. He got implemented straight into that midfield, had the second most CBAs out of the midfielders for Sydney. Did you like what you saw enough to pick him?
Yeah, I loved it. We've talked a lot in the preseason about Errol Goulden's role, and is he going to be on half? Is he playing on the wing or is he playing in the midfield on the inside? And he looked like he was playing majority on the inside on Thursday night and scored really well doing so and looked really well doing so. Had 11 tackles. So I think that's huge to add to what he already gives us and what his strengths already are in terms of his kicking ability and his outside run and his ability to hit the scoreboard. So I really like it. Adding another string to the bow. Yeah, someone who's been in and out of my side all preseason. I think that sort of cemented his spot in my side come round one.
Yeah, I'd have to say I might have to pivot from Heaney to him. Just he looks so good on that Thursday night. It was nothing against Heaney. It was just more that Goulden was too good to really pass up. So he might be one that sneaks into my side as well. Brodie Grundy, we're both very hot on. Look, the ruck rankings are not out yet, but I think he's going to feature pretty highly in our rankings. So keep an eye out for that one. But 112 Supercoach. Only needed the 16 touches, 46 hitouts though. He was just everywhere, and the ruck rules really favour him.
Yeah. I don't think he'll slow down at all from what he produced last year. I still expect him to be right up there with the other rucks. So, yeah, he was huge. Had a really good game. had a good contest with Pitnet, who we'll get to at some stage, I assume. But yeah, played really well, but Grundy held his own as well. So yeah, he didn't lose any winners or any fans on Thursday night, sorry. Chad Warner, just the 91 Tyson, didn't feature as heavily in the centre bounce attendances as you would have liked if you were going that left field pick. I think it's, with the 91 Supercoach and a big win, I think it's pretty easy just to rule him out from our calculations at this stage.
Yeah, pretty easy to rule him out. Yeah, just didn't see enough, to be honest. And there's no point taking the punt on him when you've got a few guys that we will get to look a lot better than, say, Chad around that price. Isaac Heaney, 89. Are you worried? Like, it sort of looks like we're going to Goulden, both me and you. We were both very hot on Heaney. Are you cooling off this pick now?
No, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be too worried about. I have been cool off Heaney for maybe the past 3 or 4 weeks. Hasn't been my team. But for someone like yourself who was hot on him and has had him in his team for most of the preseason, last time I'd heard he was still in your team, the role's there. He had 23 CBAs, the most of any other midfielders. So that's what you want from Heaney. Yeah, he didn't have his most effective game. He only had 20 touches, but the role's there. You know, he can get his hands on the footy a lot more if he needs to. So yeah, 89, if that's his floor, you'll take that. I wouldn't be too worried from that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not scared off of Heaney at all based on what I saw. It was more the fact that Goulden looks so good and I don't want to have too many guys on that buy round. So yeah, it's toing and froing. Maybe I can get Heaney a little bit cheaper because he's got this 89 in his system for that 1 week of that price change. I don't know. Maybe I didn't see anything for me to get scared off. He copped that knock, was off the ground for a fair bit as well. Still finished with the most CBAs for Sydney. Yeah, and we know he didn't even go forward. Like, clearly, it was just the main midfielder that's in there. So I really like the role. Jai Sarong, a guy that's been in a lot of sides in terms of the rookies. Yeah, 77 Supercoach. It's easy to lock him away on your bench, yeah?
Yeah, lock him away. 60 at half time, looked so good. Yeah, definitely slowed that second half, but yeah, again, didn't lose any fans. He looked really good. And for people who were sort of worrying how he would transition to the AFL in that new Sydney lineup, no, he didn't. He didn't step a foot wrong, especially in that first half. So yeah, definitely lock him away as that rookie. Nick Blakey, Tice, one that I've actually genuinely considered as a kind of difference option. Just the 71. I took his time to sort of get into it, but again, I wouldn't be too worried if you were looking at him or have him in your team at this stage. I think it's just going to happen with Blake. He still had 21 touches, 12 of those being kicks. So yeah, that's going to happen with him. I wouldn't be too worried. What about Malcolm Rose's tie? Someone that I know you've looked at as that sort of almost a point of difference rookie option. Scored 68 and he looked lively up forward. I know they hammered on the scoreboard Sydney in general, but has he made his way into your team, or is it too hard of competition up in the forward line in terms of rookies?
Yeah, I'm so set on the forward rookies that we have that I can't get to him. It looked like he was playing more that high half forward, which I really liked. And, you know, pushing up the ground, getting the touches elsewhere. He did it with 10 touches for a 68, which is good points per disposal, but can he keep that up consistently? I'm not quite sure. I've got a heap of other rookies that I have ahead of him. He'd probably be 5th in line if I was going to pick a 5th forward rookie. But yeah, it's easy to pass on him for now, I think. And the last guy we'll probably touch on actually, we'll touch on 2 more. Callum Mills is one that you were very hot on. 66 Supercoach from 25 disposals, literally the opposite end of Malcolm Rose's. Are you cooling off this pick now? Are you just happy? Did you get scared off this role? Are you happy to maybe get him cheaper? What are you feeling here?
Yeah, the latter there. I think he'd already made his way on my side, even though I was really hot on him. I was a little bit scared off in that Pracky match. I think they're going to use Blakey heaps this year. I don't know if that'll impact Mills' scoring, but yeah, 66 in his system. Can I get him cheaper potentially down the line and have another further look at him? Yes, so that's sort of what my thinking is for Callum Mills. So I still think he'll be up there, pushing their top 10 defenders, but not someone that I think will end up in my starting team. Charlie Curnow Tice is tipped to have a big year. Kicked 3 goals in his first game for Sydney against Carlton, at just less than 400k. Just saw it scored the 65 Supercoach. Would you look there at all?
Nah, I feel like in the Sydney team, he's going to sit really deep forward, whereas at Carlton, he pushed up the ground a lot more, which got him more disposals, more scoring, all that kind of stuff. So it's easier for him to score and be more of that premium that people actually targeted when he was at Carlton. So I feel like it's an easy avoid just because he's going to be the deep man. So yeah, probably an easy pass on Kerno.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. We'll jump into the Carlton side of things, mate. And the top of the scoring was Sam Walsh. Obviously, had a huge preseason and had a lot of people watching him, and was one that we really wanted to watch in the opening round. And he didn't step a foot wrong. He looked really, really good. Back to his free running best, scored 114, had 32 touches. What else can I say? He looked like back to Sam Walsh's best. Very similarly priced to Goulden. Can you do both of them? Is there one you'd rather more? I think there'll be a big conversation heading into round one. But I know Walsh has been in your team throughout the preseason, and I don't think he'd be coming out after that performance.
Nah, he's definitely not moved out of my side. That performance has just solidified it for me. Yeah, like you said, can I have two guys around that price? Well, if I think they're going to be a top 10 mid, then yes. I'm not picking a premium to not be a top in their line. I just don't see myself wanting to trade a premium. So I do see Walsh getting to the heights of being a top 10 mid. We saw him do it in previous seasons as well. When he gets his games, he's such a prolific scorer. In 2024, he averaged 108, and 2022 was 111. 117 in 2021. So we know he can do it. It's just the fact that the body breaks down, and can he, provide a full year. That 2021 year was a full year of 117, and now he's, it's 5 years later, got the build now. It looks like he's done a full preseason. I am picturing no setbacks, and if he does have a setback, then look, I'll just have to move him on. But I'm so sold on what I'm seeing right now from Walsh.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think he looked really good. We've sort of been hoping for this breakout, for him to really solidify himself. And I know it was a down game for Carlton, but I think Walsh sort of set the standard, and I think they'll bounce back, and he'll be the one that leads that. So I can't knock the Walsh pick. I've warmed to it as the seasons come on. So yeah, I definitely like it. As for between him and Goulden, look, I think it's picking at straws at this point. I'll probably look into it deeper and keep an eye on our socials, and I'm sure we'll post something comparing the two picks. Ollie Florentice did play off halfback and looked good. One of the shining lights for Carlton in a bad day. Scored 95, had a fair bit of the footy. I just think there's better options around that price, so it didn't compel me to pick him, but I still think it's a bit of a point of difference option, a good draft option if you're looking there.
Yeah, and the fact that Nick Newman's back in a few weeks, looks like he'll go through the VFL anyway. But his 2 week suspension, from the VFL game, he's probably going to go through the VFL. And then when he comes back into the side, how does that affect Florent? I don't really want to be, hitting and hoping on that sort of pick when it could be just 2 to 3 weeks of this role. So it's easy. I think it's an easier pass on Florent. Jagger Smith is one, racked up 27 disposals. We know he dominated the practice game that they played last week. Are you scared off the fact that 27 disposals for 65 SuperCoach?
Yeah, super scared. Everyone trade him out. Don't start Jagger Smith. Yeah, get him out of your side now. Nah. He's still a lock. Don't stress. 27 touches on debut. You'll take that every day of the week. So he'll translate the SuperCoach scoring in the weeks to come. It was his first game. So few nerves, few butchered targets, but that'll come. He's still a classy footballer, so there's no need to worry there. The one person I will be worrying about, Tice, is Liam Reedy, just a 31. The ruck contest split was still nice, but still scored 31. I think the job security is the biggest concern for me now.
Yeah, I mean, he attended 32 ruck contests out of 95, and I quite like that. It was a better split than I thought. I thought he was just going to play as like a centre half forward and then just chop in the ruck when Pitnet's off. But Pitnet only played 67% game time. So I feel like that they're going to sort of continue with that, the fact that they've got 5 on the bench. And yeah, he had about half the amount of ruck contests as Mark Pitnet, but had the same hitouts. He's a better tap ruckman than Pitnet, even though Pitnet's main scoring is tap rucking. So, is, being a good tap ruckman. So he kicked 3 goals in this game. Does that mean that Pitnet can go forward? I'm not sure. I'm not as scared off of this sort of pick. So yeah, I quite like the Reedy pick still. And
Yeah, if he's playing, I'm happy.
I'm happy
I'm
to
just scared about the job security with Hudson O'Keefe as the emergency. That's my biggest worry.
Yeah, but I don't see anyone else to be my R3 because I've got McAndrew on field that I can see playing consistent games. I feel like Reedy's doing his role in this team.
Mm. Yeah, fair
So
enough. It'll be interesting come Wednesday night. I mean, obviously, Carlton playing Richmond on Thursday. If he's named again, that's obviously a good sign. So I think that's obviously his floor. I don't think he's going much lower than 30. So the DVP and the price is definitely a huge upside. When you look at him compared to other options, you might lean a Cooper Duff Tyler, but yeah, it's much more expensive. But anyway, that sort of sums up the Swans and Carlton game, Tice. We'll move on to the next one in the Suns and the Cats. And there's a few big talking points out of this one. And I think the biggest one was Christian Petrarca. Made his move across to Gold Coast. One that me and you were sort of a bit iffy on and wanted to have a look at in the early parts of the season. Me, myself, I wasn't expecting that in his first game. And he's definitely stormed his way into my calculations. Yeah, I was looking to trade him in, and now it's sort of seeming like I'm going to have to start him. He looked so good.
Yeah, looked unreal. And the point that I want to make on Petrarca is the fact that, we were both pretty off of him. And yeah, now that he's just gone and dominated this game, it looks like he's actually kicking the footy pretty well because we know from the past he's been a bit of a butcher. And the fact he's 520k, that's probably the biggest thing. Like, obviously forward eligible is the biggest thing, but 520k, like if he's going to produce games of 100 plus, he's not going to be 520k for long. So 170 in his price cycle, with their early run, I think I have to jump on board.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to fade him at this point. But yeah, I'm not as sold as you, but I'll be hard because he's with that 170. It's going to be, you're going to have to wait a while to get him for cheaper than what he is now. So, yeah, he looked incredible. And it was like Christian Petrarca of old.
Yeah, the other thing was that we were a bit skeptical. The main reason of us maybe fading Petrarca was we were a bit skeptical that he was going to get the midfield time, push into that midfield. I know Matt Rao's not here, but I think Matt Rao just comes in for Alex Davies and takes his CBAs. Do they just lower Will Powers as well? If they're going to keep Davies in there, lower both him and Will Powers? I think they fit Matt Rao in pretty easily without affecting Petrarca too much. So that's what's making me lean towards the pick as well.
Yeah, I think Took Miller's low CBAs was a big one. I think more than Christian Petrarca's dominance, just knowing that he's the one that's been pushed out of that midfield and it looks like permanently. And like you said, Rao will come in for other guys and it won't be Petrarca. So yeah, it's definitely, it's going to be hard to keep him on my side. So I'll leave that there. In terms of the next Gold Coast Suns player, Tice, Bailey Humphrey looked incredible. 4 goals, was just a live wire up forward. Didn't spend much time in the midfield, but scored 116. Has he stormed his way into SuperCoach calculations, do you think?
No, not at this point. It's a good game from a small forward. It looks like he's just playing that small forward role, maybe up the ground a little bit, but most of his touches are within the forward 50. So, he kicked a few goals, kicked 4. Looked really good. I'll give him that, but it's not going to happen every game. With Gold Coast being up the top end of the ladder, maybe, but if I can see that he's definitely a high half forward, then yeah, maybe I'll have to consider it, but it's too much to pay for a small forward from what I say.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. You need a lot from him to push in that top 8, top 10 forward, so I wouldn't be looking there at this point. Noah Anderson scored 100, had a lot of attention from Mark O'Connor and Oyster Mullen throughout the day, so if that's his flaw when getting tagged, we know him getting tagged has been an issue in the past, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. I think that's a good score for someone who got tagged and had a lot of attention, so you'll take that from Noah Anderson. Will Powell, Tice, 87. Lots of CBAs. That role translated from the preseason hype. But just 87 and a big win. I just think I was kind of half looking there, but there's much better options around that price.
Yeah, a big win. You'd expect a bigger score, especially the fact that he had the most CBAs, even ahead of Noah Anderson in this game. Yeah, it didn't transition to the best scoring. It's still a good score. It might make you a little bit of money, but it's not enough at his current price tag. So probably easy to fade Will Powell at this point. Leo Lombard, though, uh, definitely looked really good up forward. 120k forward in Supercoach. I think he's just a lock on the bench from what we've seen.
Yeah, lock him in. He looks so good. He gives them something else. I don't think that job security is an issue at all for him now. So, yeah, 69. I don't think he'll blow out of the way with his scores or his touches or his stat line, but he'll be a good warm body who will probably just consistently punch out these 60s, 70s, 80s. So I really like the Leo Lombard pick and someone who, like you said, can knock away on our bench to start the season. Someone who I can't say the same for is Zeke Yuland. I thought he looked all right, Tice. He moves really well and found some footy. Like he knows how to find the footy, obviously. Did a lot of it in junior years, but just butchered a little bit. Again, similar to Jagger. First game AFL footy, there'll be some nerves there. It's hard because I kind of wanted him to blow us away so we could pick him in the midfield, but at that price, it's going to be hard for him to make money quickly with a 37 in his price cycle.
Yeah, he's just playing that wing role. I'm not spending 200k on a wingman, I don't think, who hasn't got AFL experience, let alone VFL. So, yeah, I think it's easier to avoid. He definitely found the footy in the first half, but like you said, butchered it a bit. I don't think it's going to always be like that. So this score could have easily been a 70 or a 60, and then we could have been saying different, but I'm not paying for this role. So I think it's easy to fade him. Let's move to the Geelong side of things. There's not too much Supercoach relevance here. Ollie Dempsey looked pretty good for the Cats. Looked like he was going. He might push into that midfield during the preseason, but that didn't come to fruition in this game. I think it's just easy to avoid Ollie Dempsey. He just had a day out on that wing sort of half forward role, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Kicked the back goals from a team that lost by a fair bit. Yeah, it was just one of their shining lights in a dark day for Geelong. So, yeah, I wouldn't be looking there Supercoach-wise. I'd probably say the same for Tom Stewart, Tice. I just think that other guys have sort of overtaken him. I know he was okay and he's got 104 at 24 touches, but Connor O'Sullivan takes a lot of those intercepting positions now. He takes a lot of intercept marks in comparison to what Tom Stewart does. I think he's taken a couple from there. And Tanner Bruin, who we'll get to in a second, provides a lot of that leg speed off halfback that Tom Stewart used to. So I think he loses a few points there and it's sort of taken him out of that top end defender discussions.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Max Holmes, 103 Supercoach, decent score from, this is probably the minimum that you want from him if you're selecting him as a premium. So, he's going to average that 110 to 120 throughout the season. They got pumped in this game, so to pull out 103 still is awesome. So he's one you could target later on in the year if he falls that nice price. It's probably just too much of a price to pick at the start of the year. Tanner Bruin, you already touched on a little bit. 91 Supercoach. I'm so sold on what I saw in this game. I was sold in the preseason game. I was even sold before the preseason. So it provides that great dash, and I really, really like it. 31 disposals is just amazing for 91 Supercoaches. He's just locked in your side as well.
Yeah, we've been hiring him since Supercoach opened, basically, and yeah, he did nothing wrong on Friday night. He looked really good. Provides Geelong something that they've sort of been calling out for a while. So I really like the Bruin pick. Yeah, score 91 in a team that got done pretty heavily is a big win. So you'll take that definitely. To round things off, Bailey Smith scored a 67. Obviously coming off a bit of a niggle after State of Origin. I think it's one to really keep an eye on, Tice. Heading after his bye. Can he drop a little bit of price and then pick him up at a cheaper price? After his buy would be huge. So keep an eye on him. Hopefully he can get back to his form of last year.
Yeah, had less than 50% CBAs, which is, I think, just them trying to shield him a little bit, keep him away from the contest with that niggle that he's got going on, like you're saying. Still had 23 touches. We know he can find the footy. I'm pretty hot on Bailey Smith still being up there, top 10. I might even have him in the top 10. You'll see the mid rankings throughout the week. But yeah, I'm happy to wait on him with this 67 and the current injury cloud that he has. That's probably it for this game. Let's move to the GWS and the Hawks game where, GWS were too good for him. Hawks made a little comeback in that last quarter, but GWS definitely kicked away enough. Well, we're enough away to solidify that victory. Cornelio, massive talking point out of this game. 122 SuperCoach. Is he now an option because he's 310k?
No, I think he scared me off more than I had him. Like he's less in my calculations now than he was before, just due to the fact that we were hoping for a pure midfield role and he didn't get any of it. Played a lot of half forward, looked good, but had just the 4 CBAs. So really pinch hit, had 11% CBAs, and just was playing half forward. Kicked a couple goals, looked good, got involved in possessions, but I'm not picking him to play half forward. He's not going to have a comprehensive win against Hawthorn every week, or he's not in my calculations.
Yeah, looking at his heat map, it's definitely just half forward, up to the wing kind of role. So, like you said, he's not going to do that every week. They're not going to have a good win against the Hawks. It's easier to avoid Cornelio. Clayton Oliver, though, is sort of the Tom Green replacement that they didn't know they needed until Tom Green went down. 121 SuperCoach looks back to his best, didn't he?
Yeah. It hurts Tyus because he was definitely on my never again list, and for some reason he's trying to push his way out of it, and for some reason I'm letting him. He's definitely on the forefront of my mind at that price. I just think the upside's there. He looked like Clary of old, didn't he? To score, 120 from just 26 touches, that's not even the best that he can perform. Had 10 clearances, kicked a goal. I don't know. I will probably not start him just because I've been burnt too many times, but yeah, he looks back.
Yeah, I'm hot on Clary. I think the fresh start is good for him, and he's shown it. I'm so hot on this pick. I might even say he could be a top 10 mid, and if I do think that, I have to start him. I'm just convincing myself around it. He's not currently in my side, but boy, am I finding a way to get him in. There's a lot of mids that I want in my side, so I don't know if I can fit him, but 500k. I had him in my first team reveal. People were calling me crazy. Well, have a look at what he's doing, It's just it looks really, really good. So, especially with Callahan in the side as well. So, it's very nice. One to keep an eye on, I think. I think I'm picking him. I don't know. I might have talked myself into it. But, another guy that has gotten a bit of chatter after this game is Joe Fonte. 22 disposals, 119 SuperCoach. He looked really, really classy. Looked like he's been playing footy for 150, 200 plus games. Is he sneaking into your side now?
No, he's not really in my calculations. He looked good, and he's always shown a bit of promise ever since he sort of came onto the scene, and has always been a bit of a smooth operator. But no, I wouldn't be chasing those points. I don't think that's going to happen every week.
Nah, that's probably just an easy avoid. Like, he's playing that backline role, but he's got to share it with Ash and Whitfield, who we'll get to, but we know that they're just, SuperCoach pigs in terms of disposals and stuff. And Hawthorn don't like to retain the ball, so they're happy to have people chip around. That's probably why Fonte got that big score. Jake Riccardi, 111 SuperCoach, playing that second ruck role. Kicked 3 goals when he went forward. Looks good up forward as well. Could you look there at a forward ruck? But he's probably just a bit expensive, isn't he?
Your man, Jake Riccardi, big fan you are. He's just a bit expensive, unfortunately. If I had, like, they've sorry, I can't even spit this out. They have flirted with the idea of him being their number 1 ruck, which would have been huge for SuperCoach, and we could have had him in our forward line. I think he would have been a great option then, but yeah, I just am unsure about the split, and I can't be certain on it. So it's a no from me at this stage, unfortunately. Lockie Whitfield, Tice, 103, didn't do anything wrong. The role was there. I think there's no stress if you're set on starting him in your side. He didn't do anything wrong. So you'll take that. And for people who, like myself, will hopefully be bringing him in at some stage throughout the year, it seems like, it's just going to be Whitfield of old who might not drop a bad score. So, yeah, just 103 from him. Finn Callaghan, Tice, 89. I know he's coming off that bit of a hip complaint throughout the preseason, but the fact that he got up for round 0 was a big plus for me. I really wanted him in my side. I don't think I can start him now, but he's one that I'll definitely watch in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it didn't look too hampered by the injury, but he definitely was. It wasn't at his, peak Callaghan best. I thought, at least from what I saw, but he definitely showed how good of a player he is when he's even not at 100%. So I think if you've got Callaghan and you were sold on Callaghan, this should not have scared you off at all. 89 SuperCoach is still good enough, and it's only in his price cycle for 1 week, so it's not like you're going to get him super cheap because an 89 is still a decent score. Toby Green, Das, 89 SuperCoach as well. You're a bit hotter on this pick. He definitely moved into that midfield. Had the third most CBAs out of the Giants with 24 centre bounce attendances. 20 touches. You're going to look at him. Eligible as a forward, still under 500k.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice to see. I mean, Callaghan was there as well, so they don't have much reinforcements to come. It looks like that's going to be his role this year and go forward, pinch it in the forward line, kick a couple goals. Yeah, I don't think he'll make my side, but I still really like it. And I think it could be one that we might look back in 6 weeks' time and go, why didn't we pick Toby Green? We know how much of a pig he has been in the midfield in the past. We were convinced, we've been proven that that's his role. We had a look at it in round 0, and we still didn't pick him. I feel like that might happen, but yeah, I can't convince myself to do it. Unfortunately, I think there's just too much value elsewhere. He's at 440k, so it's still a bit of a price tag, unfortunately. But yeah, I will definitely be keeping an eye on him. The ruck battle Tice was a bit of an interesting one. Briggs and Meek, both guys, were sort of flagged to have a bit of an impact with the new ruck rules, and they're both reflected in this game. Briggs just a 78 and Meek just a 71. So if you were looking at either of those as a point of difference option, that probably faded away on Saturday afternoon. Lockie Ash started the season slowly, just a 69, but I think that's good news for someone like yourself who is very hot on Lockie Ash, and hopefully we can pick him up for a nice price in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, this is more of a score that only affects him for 1 week, but I like it, the fact that I can pick him up cheaper. I was to and fro with starting him in my side. I'm happy to fade it for now just because I can pick someone else that doesn't have the buy. I wasn't scared off from the roll at all. Whitfield took most of the kick-ins, which I thought Ash was going to get, so that was probably the only downfall. But once that starts to change, I'll definitely be eyeing off Lockie Ash to be in my side. Another guy that was sort of a beneficiary of Tom Green going out, I know Clayton Oliver's kind of came in and sort of just replaced it, but Josh Kelly's not in this side as well. Harry Ralston got 20 CBAs. He was the 4th most, and it really dropped off. It was Clary, Callaghan, Toby Green, Ralston, and then Cornelio only got 4 for the game. So it was those 4 at the top who were the main midfielders. He just didn't translate it into a good score. Only 15 touches, 60 SuperCoach, but the role is there. I was happy to back Ralston or Cornelio if only one of them had the role. Ralston had it, just didn't convert with it. So I think I might have to fade this one.
Yeah, well, he's never really been on my radar. I just don't know if the ceiling's there to pick it. Yeah, he's contending with the likes of like Tanner Bruin at that same price range, same position, and I think Bruin showed in spades why he's the better selection. Yeah, I don't think he's going to dominate, so I'm happy to let that one through to the keeper. And Phoenix Gothard was for the last one I want to touch on. Tice on debut, kicked a nice goal, but just the 47. So again, I think there's better rookie options in the forward line that we can look at. But moving on to a Hawthorn side of things, Tice. James Sicily, 128. Is he back? Taking big intercept marks. He looked like it was the Sicily of old. Can we trust him?
No, you can't. They're just going to throw him forward at any chance that they can get. It did look like the Sicily of old. But yeah, he's just going to go forward any chance that they get. I just can't back this in with how they've used him in the last couple of years, with Josh Battle and Tom Barras there. So they can just throw him around as much as they want. I'm a fade on Sicily.
Yeah, I'm the same. I can't trust that. So I think there's better options as well in the back line. Connor McDonald had a little bit of the role that people were hoping for. It's not a full-time midfield position, but he had 12 CBAs, spent a third of the time in there, so it's not too bad. He's playing majority of that half forward, but will pinch hit the midfield and scored all right. Scored 94 in a loss. So if that's his floor, like are we happy with that? Are you interested at all?
I would be if he wasn't 380k. He's got to score like a premium to get up to that 500k. And yeah, look, a 94 is a good score. I just don't think it's super consistent in a 30% CBA role. So I'm happy to avoid Connor McDonald at this point. If you're very hot on him and think he can produce that 100, 95, 100 scoring consistently, then yeah, this shouldn't have scared you off at all. Like, in fact, it should have solidified your pick. But a 381k, I wanted to see a more solidified midfield role.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not hot on him. Like you said, at that price, you need him to be a primo, and he's just not going to be, I don't think. Someone who could but didn't on the weekend is Giant Newcomb. Just a 63 SuperCoach in the end, Tice. I know you've had a look at him. He had 25 touches, so didn't fail to get his hands to the footy. The role was there, just didn't convert to a SuperCoach score. So I think if you were sold on starting Newcomb, that shouldn't scare you off. Like, you still had the role, had the touches, but yeah, it just wasn't a great SuperCoach score. And for someone like yourself who might be looking at him, again, you could be looking at him under 500k in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, he's already only just above 500k, but I think I'm going to fade him at this point. Like, he is the main guy at Hawthorn, which is why I really liked it, because he was kind of the only one that's really solidified in that midfield. But yeah, I thought he was going to provide us some better consistency. It's not showed yet. So 25 touches, only 4 contested, which is a bit weird for Newcomb as well. He's usually a contested bull, which provides him that great SuperCoach scoring, which we have seen in the past. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one, but he's not starting on my side. So, but that probably rounds out this game from the Hawthorn side of things. Let's move to the Lions and the Dogs. We could be on this game for a while. There's so much SuperCoach relevance in this game, and boy, was this a game to watch. Definitely the game of the round, which is what I thought.
Good win for the Pies, I thought, with game of the round, but this was a good game of footy, no doubt. Topping off with Dane Zorko, mate. My man, as you know, big Zorko fan. 131, just did exactly what he did last year. Especially, he started off this way last year as well. 131. I wouldn't look there again. I've got the same reasons that I did last year. He could go down at any minute. I think with the inclusion of Coleman, Wilmot, Jasper Fletcher down there, it's just not going to happen every week. So, but I sound like a broker when it comes to Zorko.
Well, last year they had Wilmot and Fletcher sort of play as the other sort of distributing defenders as well as Zorko. And now that Kitty Coleman's in the side, it's kind of scared me off it a little bit, of any consideration of it. Not that I was at his age, but it looks like, Fletcher's moving up to that wing. So it's probably going to be the same split as it was last year, just with, Coleman in instead of Fletcher. So you could go there as a point of difference. He's, like you said, just going to break down at any second, I think. He's in a non-contact role, but and taking Giggins. So it's good point of difference. Another great point of difference is one that it could sneak into my side as well. A lot of people are hot on him after this game. Is 123 from Lachie Neale, 39 disposals. We obviously know about his off-season and what's happened there, but it looks like he's just focused on his footy now.
Yeah, from all reports, he's had a huge preseason on the track. Obviously, off-field stuff is out of his control at this stage, but he's letting his footy do the talking. Could have benefited his footy. That he's only got the one thing to focus on at this point. Who knows? But yeah, the buyer's the only thing scaring me off now. I think he's at a really nice price. We know how good Lachie Neale can be. I really like it.
I definitely think he's, got into calculations of a lot of sides. I couldn't talk anyone out of this pick at all. I might be talking myself into it. So, definitely like what I saw there. Will Ashcroft, another one who's looks to be a mainstay in that midfield now. At 98 SuperCoach, 30 disposals. He looked really clean. just looks like, another guy, another kid that's getting another year under his belt, and looks like he's translating to a high level. I'm not sure if we can pick him to be a top line midfielder. You're probably more inclined to go Lachie Neale from what we saw, but if you think he's going to be top of the line, could you? Yeah, I couldn't talk anyone out of that. Would you?
Yeah, I would. I'm not a big Ashcroft man. I think his CBA numbers were inflated because of McCluggage going down early. He's usually that fourth guy, so they usually are pretty heavy with their main guys in the midfield. And this showed on Saturday with Neil, Dunkley, and Ashcroft all having over 70% CBAs, and then the next most was Zach Bailey with 29%. So then they're pretty heavy with their three guys, and it's usually Neil, Dunkley, and McCluggage, and Ashcroft is that fourth guy. No, McCluggage obviously throws a spanner in the works, and he was the guy that reaped the benefits of that. He's obviously a classy player. I don't know if that full-time midfield role is as prevalent as it will be on Saturday. So yeah, I'm not as hot as people will be, but he will break out at some point. We know how good he can play. So when he starts to string those games together, that's when he becomes super coach relevant and be a top end premium. And if you can get the timing right on that, then yeah, you're obviously a good super coach player. But I just don't think it's yet. I think Neil's obviously not slowing down at all. Dunkley still playing good footy, and maybe with McCluggage out, he could be the beneficiary of that. But it sounds like the calf is on the lower end, so I wouldn't be betting on it. Dunkley 88 Tice. It's just sort of a Dunkley game. It's going to be his floor. We know what we get from Dunkley.
Yeah, definitely. Can't talk anyone out of Dunkley now. Like he's just going to be a super consistent guy. He's going to be that in and under guy for Brisbane. So I definitely liked what I saw there. Zach Bailey, like you mentioned, got a few bit of midfield time, 29% CBAs, 76 Supercoach. I think he could be a top of the line, but is that inflated, like you said, with the Cluggage injury? I feel like they're going to use him at about this percentage, 25, 30% throughout the whole year. So it's not enough for me to pick him as a genuine option unless he, shoots the lights out. But if this is, and I feel like he will in the games that are easy beats or the lower end teams, but being against another top end side and not converting to a big, at least a 90 or something is probably enough for me to avoid this pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think if McCluggage was out for longer, if it was a serious injury and you could get, a month of Bailey being a good pinch hitter in the midfield, I'd be tempted. But it sounds like it's a lower end calf. I still think he'll be playing half forward, so I'm not that keen there. Kitty Coleman Tice is just throwing more question marks out left, right, and centre. He got the role, but just couldn't convert again. Just a 60 super coach. Had 18 touches, took a couple of kick-ins, but yeah, obviously didn't blow anyone away. I don't think he's going to hurt you if you start him, but it's whether he's going to make you much cash and be a good super coach selection is now becoming the question. So yeah, the role's not a question, but not sold.
Yeah, all the play went through Zorko, which is why he, had 31 disposals, and he's a distributor for them at the moment. And Coleman's just sort of there, like the ball's good and when it's in his hands, and he's going to give you some games that are just outstanding. And is that enough for the 230K? Maybe. Because he's just going to provide some cash. So, but 61, you want this to be his definite floor, and I'm not sure that it will be. They've got Jasper Fletcher and Darcy Wilmot, who we've already spoken about. They like to get the ball in the hands of as well. So the role was there. I can't say I'm not on this pick at all, but I can't find a way to be convinced in my starting squad.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't think it's a very low risk pick. So if I need to, I'm looking for someone around that price. It could be him, but I think there's guys with better upside in different positions that I might lean towards. Zakatleski nailed that. Obviously, he was okay in his debut. Kicked it a good goal from the goal square. Scored 56. I just don't think the job security's there. Sam Draper's back this week or next. So you'd expect that to be a like-for-like replacement, and he'll go back and be better for his run in the AFL. And Hugh McCluggage probably rounds things up for the Lions. Tice 13. Obviously, the calf very early on. Good news is, yeah, like I've mentioned a couple of times, it's on the minor end. So keep an eye out. He should be back shortly in the next few weeks. I think they said he won't play this week, but they'll look. Maybe they'll give him to his bye and then reevaluate after that. But yeah, it's not a bad injury, which is good. But with a 13 in his cycle, albeit just for one price rise, or price fall in this case. Could we get him for pretty cheap? One to keep an eye on. Moving across to the dog side of things, Tice, Ed Richards started the show with 144, had 30 touches, and kicked a couple of goals, and stormed his way in a lot of people's SuperCoach calculations. Can he be your point of difference midfielder? What do we think there?
Yeah, definitely a point of difference. Really good point of difference. Second year going into the midfield as well. Another preseason under his belt as a midfielder. I think he's just looked phenomenal. He was, to and fro in my calculations during the preseason, but then the fact that he's going to be the main midfielder for the Dogs, with Bont sort of spending a bit more forward time. I really like this pick, and I can't talk anyone out of it. Clearly, he's just a weapon. He's a weapon.
Yeah, I agree. High scoring affair. He knows he can show he can impact the scoreboard as well with his 2 goals. Had 7 clearances and just uses his drive out of the contest. So he, like you said, could be the number 1 midfielder now. Bond spends a lot of time forward, so I really like the Ed Richards pick. And the buy is annoying, but could he make you up the points elsewhere? I think he might. So he was incredible on Saturday night. So was Tim English, again, just staking his claims as being that R1 selection for a lot of sides after his preseason. 117, again, didn't lose any fans. I think he's firming into a lot of people's sides now. He's going to be my ruck, I think, to start, unfortunately. As you convinced me into him, I wasn't hot on him at first, but yeah, he just hasn't stepped a foot wrong.
Yeah, being unreal. I think the new ruck rules really favour him. He was just running Darcy Fort and Zach Excelsior all over the ground. Most of the teams are playing that main ruckman and a good second ruckman. The Dogs don't. They play Tim English and then the pinch hits from Sam Darcy when Tim English is off the ground. Obviously, Sam Darcy is going to be a good ruckman if he moves into the ruck line, whatever, but he's so damaging up forward that he's not in the side to be the second ruckman. He's in the side to be a forward, So Tim English, whenever he's on the ground, he's playing in that ruck and he's all around the ball. 16 disposals, but 117 Supercoach just looked unreal. I'm so sold on Tim English, possibly even being an R1 come season end. The Bond is there, 113. We touched on the fact that he didn't play full midfield minutes. He got 46% of the CBAs, which is a bit less than what we're used to from the Bont. But when he goes up forward, it doesn't really matter. He's going to be damaging up forward. So I wouldn't be scared off the pick if, just the fact he didn't play midfield time. If you were set on starting the Bont, it's a lot of money to start him. But if you just have the Bont, you don't have to worry about trying to get him in. And when's he going to produce a bad score? At the moment, I can suspect that you don't have the Bont. Me and you both need to find a way to get him in at some point throughout the year. And the forward role, if we can get him as a forward, that would be huge. But I'm not scared off this pick after seeing only 40% CBAs.
Yeah, fair. It's Bont. I don't think that's a long-term thing. They'll need him in the midfield more some games. So keep an eye out there. Forward eligibility, like you said, would be really nice, but I wouldn't be scared off about it. It is expensive. I just can't go there because of the price, but if you're really set on starting him, I don't blame you. Connor Butterick, unfortunately, Tice just dominated. He was one I was keen to keep ours, and could be the face of the pod, and you know what, he probably still can be. But 27 touches, took 8 kick-ins from memory, which is just crazy work. We love that. 105 Supercoach. I just think I'd go as far as saying he's a lock at this point at 245k. Eligible as a forward.
Yeah. I wanted to see it in a game with Bailey Dale. Bailey Dale played this game and Butterick was dominant. The only thing I'm going to say is the small caveat is the fact that Dale was clearly hampered by injury, had that heavy strapping on that knee. I just don't think it's going to affect Butterick enough to not be a great starting option at 240k in the forward line. You could almost go and say that he is a lock. Lucky Jax, 84 Supercoach. That's just great for a 120k rookie. He's a lock as well. Just put him on the bench. The fact that he's gone 84 Supercoach against the back-to-back reigning premiers is just massive positives for me. He looked really, really good and really classy out there. Just lock him on your bench. Selwood is another one. 70 Supercoach played in his debut. I thought he looked all right as well. Only the 10 touches, but 7 tackles. Copped that knock from Zach Bailey, which Bailey copped a week for, and he got back into him. He looked like he was a man that's already built for AFL. Would you be tempted in the Selwood pick at all?
Yeah, tempted. I mean, the 70 in the system's nice. We're pretty spoiled for options down back, so I wouldn't be picking over someone like Jai Sarong or Jax, but if you do want an extra guy and you're batting pretty thin back there, I don't think you can knock it. I mean, yeah, 70 on debut is always nice. So if he can build from that, it'd be a good selection and help his price generation, his cash generation, I should say. Sam Darcy, Tice, obviously he's been battling a bit of back soreness since the State of Origin game. So it was touch and go to play this week. Played, looked a little bit hampered, but still played his heart out. Kicked 2 goals too. Scored 61. I think I wouldn't be starting him, but yeah, as a key forward goes, there'll be fluctuating scores, and we know how good he can be. I just think if he's starting a little bit injury hampered, just keep an eye on him. See if we can get him under 500k, under 450k. Really jump on him then, because we know how good Sam Darcy can be. So hopefully he can get his body right and go back to his best, because he'll only help doggies even further. And yeah, Bailey Dale, like you mentioned, 60 under that injury cloud. You'd expect him to bounce back as well once he's fully fit. He was also touch and go on Saturday night, and he got up for it. But yeah, just the 19 touches usually impacts a little bit more than that.
Yeah, if you're looking at starting Bailey Dale, it's easy to just wait for him and wait for him to get back to his full fitness, and then you get him a little bit cheaper as well. So because you suspect this might stick around a little bit before he gets back to his best. So yeah, easy avoid on Bailey Dale and watch as the season progresses. But let's get into the last game. Like you were saying, is the game of the round, but it's only because your boys won. We'll start on the Saints side of things. Jack Sinclair, 143 Supercoach. I'm really annoyed at this, the fact that everyone is now jumping off Wayne Milera into Sinclair, and he's no longer a pod. He's above 20% owned now. He's actually getting close to Wayne Milera ownage numbers. And I suspect that it'll just keep fluctuating until round 1, and then we'll really see that. But really dominated this game. You've got to be selecting Sinclair now, don't you?
Yeah, I think we put a post up about Sinclair about being a point of difference option. It couldn't have been much longer than a week ago. And he was in 9% of teams, so now he's in 20%, which is crazy. But yeah, he just looked incredible. He's that guy back there sharing it with Marcus Windhager. Like we've said all preseason, and like you've been a real advocate of, he will be the beneficiary of Naz's move in the midfield. He stars when Naz isn't in there, and he showed that yesterday. So, yeah, I love the pick. And I think a lot of people will jump off Naz and jump onto Sinclair. And unfortunately for you, it was your little trump card. It seems to be the way that a lot of people are going. Marcus Windhager, like I mentioned, Tice, he was off halfback in replace of Naz, sort of pair Sinclair. Looked good, had 29 touches, got 102 Supercoach. Obviously, it's a new role for him, but just over 400k as a midfielder only at this stage. Is that a sort of sneaky point of difference mid-price option?
Yeah, I think it's a great point of difference. I was a little bit worried that maybe when they need to tag and hamper someone, that he would be the one that has to go to him because he's done so many jobs in the past. But they sent Garcia to Dacos for a small bit of time that they wanted to tag him. So that was a massive positive sign. And I quite like this Windhager pick. I'm warming to it, that's for sure. So I don't think I've got the kahunas to start him at this point. 444k is a lot to spend on Windhager when he hasn't sort of played that backline role for a long amount of time. He's sort of doing a role change. So I'm not going to back it in, I don't think.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm tempted. You're right with the price. It's a little bit annoying, but yeah, I think there's definitely some upside there, and the role hopefully should have a high floor. So we'll see throughout the week where my head goes. To finish off the Saints, Tom DeConing scored 96. Obviously, we didn't get a good look at the DeConing-Marshall split, with Marshall getting knocked out and ruled out with HIA. Scored 96, looked good, but obviously took the majority of the ruck contents there. Mateus Philippou scored 66, hit 18 touches. Still had the role that we wanted. So, yeah, had 42% CBAs. So you'll take that. He looked good. Had a couple of shots on goal that he missed. I wouldn't be worried about that at all. Just lock Naz away in your forward line. Not Naz, lock Pooh away in your forward line. Naz, on the other hand, 63 Tice, got tagged out of it by Perryman. Started in the midfield, couldn't get his hands on it. Went forward, couldn't impact. Went back, couldn't really get his hands on it. What do you think?
I think Perryman did a great job on him. Thought the tag was going to be out of fashion with how fast that they want the game to go. But Perryman was just hot on him, hot on his tail the whole time. I really liked it. And people are scared off the Wanganimmalera pick, but I almost think you shouldn't be. The 63 is only in his price cycle for one round. I know that I'm a big caveat for Sinclair over Naz, but I still say Naz is going to finish as a top 2 defender. Like, that clearly shows that I think that Sinclair is the beneficiary from Naz moving into the midfield, but I think Naz is so good that it's really going to be a rival for Sinclair v. Wanganimmalera, who's going to finish the season as D1. So you shouldn't be scared off of it, the fact that, yeah, it was such a tag-heavy game. We know he showed his spurts of brilliance throughout the game as well. I don't know, am I strange in saying the fact that I'm to and from between my points?
No, I think you're just wanting everyone to select Naz so that you can have Sinclair to yourself again. But yeah, I just think he struggled with the attention, and he's going to get a lot more attention this year. I wanted to see how he was like with attention. I didn't think we would give it to him, but the fact that Collingwood, who never really tags, has sort of created a makeshift tagger to go to Naz, I think that'll be the way the teams go throughout the year. And yeah, I think there'll be a bit of a teething issues in terms of Naz adjusting to that and being able to impact games when he's got someone right next to him. So, yeah, I think there will be 60s in his cycles, and I think it's one that we can easily just let through the keeper at this stage, which I wouldn't have said a month ago, but I'm pretty happy for that price tag just to not go there. Sam Flanders Tice, 77. I wouldn't be worried about this. Yeah, it's not a great score, but had 28 touches, had the role, just didn't use it very well, 61%. Yeah, in a team that lost, yeah, I wouldn't stress with that too much. Jack Carroll, on the other hand, 54 SuperCoach, looked okay, had 16 touches, took 8 marks, but I'm not sure on the job security. I'm really not. I just think there's players to come back. Like, will they give Toby Trevelyan a run? I think that's the same sort of like for like. Liam O'Connell played a lot through that role last year. Well, does he come back in? Hunter Clark is close to being fit, plays a similar role. I'm really worried that he's going to be the guy we pick at M11 and M10, and then he plays one game once SuperCoach actually starts, and then he's a dead rookie for the most of the year.
Yeah, that could easily be the case. It's a bit scary, but we don't have much midfield rookies, and
Yeah,
he's
exactly right.
one of the better ones that we have at the moment. He was picked ahead of a few of the guys that you mentioned, which is a positive sign. And they should persist with it at least for another game. But that's so annoying just from a SuperCoach point of view, is because they don't get a price rise until they play 3 games. So I don't see him getting dropped. I'm worried that he might get dropped after this game. It's coming up against Melbourne. So yeah, one to keep an eye on. Obviously, if he's not selected, don't pick him. But yeah, we're so light on in the midfield bench that we might be forced to. Let's go to the Collingwood side, and it was the Dacos show. It was definitely the Dacos show on Sunday night. Josh and Nick definitely tore this game apart. 134 SuperCoach for Josh, 36 disposals. I thought he was just outstanding. Not in the midfield role that you were sort of floating that they might play with, but just looks so good.
Yeah, he looks incredible. Yeah, I just can't. I was really hoping he played midfield. That's the bottom line. He's featured in my sides throughout the preseason because I think he can really break out if he plays as that midfielder, but it just doesn't really look like that's going to happen. But he was a star. He looked so good off halfback as usual. Uses the ball so well. Got his hands on the footy a lot. We know Saints do league touches to halfback, so that he was the beneficiary of that, and someone else that we'll get to. But yeah, I really like the Josh Dacos pick. I think he's a star, obviously. And then Nick, to your other point, just ran free, had 41 touches, didn't get inside as much as he did last year, but yeah, he was classy as usual. 41 touches, like I mentioned. he missed a couple of goals that he might sometimes kick that boost that score, but 117, you'll take that from him every day of the week.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely taking that. 41 just touches is just unreal. I wouldn't be scared of the touches to SuperCoach ratio because, he can clearly turn it on with less touches and provide some huge scores. So if you were set on starting Dacos and can navigate that early buy, then definitely, go and talk you out of Dacos. It's just that early buy that's really scaring me off of that. What about Darcy Cameron? He was one that might get affected by the new ruck rules, might not. Came up against De Koning and Marshall, who are some genuine ruckmen, and looked to get the better of them, I thought. 107 Supercoach, 19 disposals, 20 hitouts, kicked a goal as well. Did you like what you saw enough to warrant a selection?
Not to warrant a selection, but he's a star. He was incredible last night. I'm a bit worried about. I think he was one of our best players, and I think he dominated the game. I think he was better than Tom De Koning, and he still only scored 107. I just think it's going to be hard. You really need to be running across the ground to benefit heaps from as a new ruck with these new ruck rules, and I think that's where Tim English has sort of started a little bit. I don't think Darcy Cameron gets his hands on the footy enough to warrant the 600k price tag. So, I'm happy as a Collingwood supporter, but don't need him in my Supercoach team. Dan Houston Tice is one we've talked about in the last couple of weeks. Can he go back to his best? And he looked like it yesterday. At 94 Supercoach, 28 touches, 21 of those being kicks, and had 6 kick-ins. So half of the kick-ins, which he didn't get last year. So he's already getting more kicks. But Collingwood took the most marks we've ever taken under Craig McRae. So it's a new way that we're playing. We want to get the ball in Dan Houston's hands. Is he a sneaky Supercoach option?
Yes, a sneaky option, but I was only going to select him if I was going to pick him if Josh Dacos was playing midfield. I think just the fact that Dacos and Houston like to have the ball in their hands and get a lot of touches to get their Supercoach scoring, I feel like there's too much that they need to feed, too many mouths to feed between the two of them, and Nick Dacos, who they want to put the play through, that I'm not going to warrant a selecting of Houston. If Dacos, Josh, and Nick were both in the midfield, I'd be selecting Dan Houston.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I still think he'll be our guy. I just think, and this is a lot of Collingwood enough coming out of me, Tice, but it's been a story for big recruits coming across to Collingwood that they fail in their first year, and I not terrible, but really bad. Lockie Schultz, prime example, 2 years ago, he was really bad in his first year. Everyone hated on him, calling for his head. Last year, it was top 5 in the BNF. It was incredible. Chris Mayne did it a few years ago, close to 10 years ago now. But people come across to Collingwood, they struggle in their first year. They take a while to adapt the system. But then we start to use them once they find their feet. I've just got that feeling that that'll happen with Dan Houston this year. We know the heights that he can be. 2-time All-Australian, 2-time Supercoach Pig. He was a lock in everyone's side for 2 years there. I think he can reach that again. I don't have the balls to pick him, but I'd love just to say it on the record so that we had that here to come back to when he could potentially average 100 for the year. So keep an eye on Dan Houston. John DeGoey is one that I know you were really hot on, Tice. He was in your team reveal. Had 29% CBAs, but just looked incredible. He moved really well. The midfield role wasn't fully there. Has that scared you off?
That scared me off. I don't like the fact he's not one of those full-time midfielders with what they've got. I get that Perryman was doing a role on Wanganimbalera, and that's why he took a lot of CBAs. And is that just DeGoey's ones that have sort of come out? Because I think that McCreary is just going to be consistent with how they used him. Sidebottom and Pendles aren't going to jump in too much. Or maybe it's Josh Dacos that, was the one that was unlucky because of Perryman's tagging. But I wanted to see DeGoey full-time midfield to warrant my selection. Yes, he looks good up forward, fit as ever, but I don't think that it's just going to happen every week with kicking 3 goals.
Yeah, that's fair. He was electric up forward, and you just don't want him as a forward. You're picking him to be a consistent midfielder, and I think he can break games in the role that he's playing now as that majority forward. And pitching in the midfield, but it's just not a SuperCoach friendly role. So, yeah, it scared me off as well for someone who I wanted to pick, but yeah, I just can't go there now. And to close things out for the weekend, Tice, a couple of rookies from a Collingwood sort of thing that people might have had a slight eye on. Ronan Steele scored 49, I believe, kicked his first goal, but yeah, didn't look great. And Will Parker scored 49, and Ronan Steele scored 53. So not huge scores. If you're desperate for options, they're there. But yeah, Steele's just under 200k and Parker's 130k. So they're probably rookies that we can rule out. But that sums up the round 0 scores, Tice. It was good to go through it with you. Did you make any changes after the games on the weekend?
Yeah, I've made a fair few changes based on a few of the guys that we spoke about. It kind of sucks because like the players that don't play, I want to still pick for my reasons that I had previously. But then you see players like Ed Richards dropping 140, and I want to select him because I was to and fro with him throughout the preseason. And now that he's come out and dropped a 140, I want to sneak him back into my side. But does that come at the expense of the guys that didn't play? They haven't got their chance to prove their point. They've got no buy as well, like a Caleb Sarong. Caleb Sarong could be one that makes way in my side. But I know that he's good enough and he's underpriced. So yeah, it's definitely trying to find that nice balance of accommodating to their buy as well as liking what you see. You needed to have the the want to have them in your side prior to this week, I think, to then be selected in your side because you've seen that role, you've seen them dominate in these games. I don't know. That's my view. Do you have similar views? Have you made a lot of changes to your side?
I haven't made any yet because I've just letting it all simmer in my mind first, and then I'll have another crack at it. Because I don't want to be too quick to make these changes, and I just want to let all of the emotion out of it and just have a look at it on Wednesday and pick my final team then. But you're right. Don't let the weekend scores. Don't let anyone jump from the clouds and land in your team. Just try and back your judgment throughout the whole preseason. If there was a guy you wanted to watch in round 0 and they convinced you enough, go ahead, put him in your team. But don't let someone convince you from a one-off game. If you weren't even looking at Windhager, but now you've seen this and you're like, oh, I kind of like it. Like, you don't need to convince yourself on guys who have played one game, and don't be chasing points that aren't even going to count towards your score. So that's probably the one thing to keep in mind. But other than that, mate, that rounds things out. Next time we're here on a Monday, we'll be proper SuperCoach. So I'm keen to get into it. I'll be sitting rank 1. You'll be somewhere in the 60, 70,000s. It'll be good to see. And I'll be here with a crown on my head. So I look forward to it, mate. But until then, we've got lots more content coming your way this week. For your last minute scrambling before the season starts, we will have all the answers. So make sure you're following along, subscribed, and listening ahead, because there's going to be lots coming your way.
Yeah, it's a lot of content coming this week, so keep an eye out. Probably double uploads most days, let's say, leading up to the start of the season. So make sure you got the listening ears out, and or watching along on YouTube. The visuals are always better to see. So clearly had the share screen up today. So keep an eye out, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, Dice.
Thanks, man.